Hey there folks, Robert here, and as always I am your geeky tipster, and I'm not a fan of drama. However, when something strikes a nerve with me, I'm not afraid to speak up.
It's hard to find an internet figure with more backstory than Tipster, who over the past 2 decades has made a name for himself on YouTube for all the wrong reasons. While the rotund individual has tried his hardest to be a legitimate influencer since the site's inception, as time has gone on, he's unfortunately been tied into the Lolcow archetype, with behavior that many have deemed questionable. From defending inappropriate images of minors to flirting with online women who he refers to as his goth mommies while married, to being friends with a white woman who had her child call her enemy the N-word, there's a lot to unpack with this one. While he has threatened to leave the World Wide Web an endless amount of times, he always seems to pop back up to the pleasure of many of his detractors who seem fixated on mocking him. Because his career or lack thereof is so expansive, I thought it would be good to dig deep and make one concise video breaking down the few ups and many downs of this YouTuber's career, with it all culminating in him transitioning to be a goth mommy himself. But before we go any further in today's video, have you ever tried quitting smoking or vaping with no success? Well, today's sponsor might do the trick: Fume. Nicotine pouches, patches, and gum only address the nicotine while still keeping you reliant on it. And cold turkey is extremely unsustainable, over-focusing you on every craving and expecting pure willpower to carry you through. But the thing is, vaping and smoking aren't just a nicotine problem, they're a habit problem. The hand-to-mouth motion, the inhale, the stress break, the thing you reach for automatically throughout the day. And that's exactly why Fume works. Fume is a flavored air device made from real wood and metal that gives your hand, mouth, and brain something better to reach for when craving hits. It has no nicotine, no vapor, and no batteries. And it was specifically designed to help you quit. They sent me a package with a bunch of different flavors to try of the product, and I think mint is my favorite. On top of that, I really like the fidget element of it. You could spin it around, make it click, and it feels really substantial for you to just mess around with when you're bored. And the best part is if you go and grab a journey pack for yourself, you'll also get a free Fume topper just for using my code TheGamerFromMars at checkout. So to try it out for yourself, click the link in the description down below or scan the QR code on the screen. Tipster, real name Robert Santillan, has been posting online in one form or another for over 2 decades. His oldest videos were uploaded to GameTrailers.com and soon after re-uploaded to YouTube in 2006, under the name Gamer Geek Review. As the name would imply, his earliest posts to the website were video game and console reviews, although many of them were never archived and Tipster has since wiped these videos from his channel. In his About section, he wrote, "My hope is that through these videos I would one day be discovered by the gaming press and get the chance to review games for a living. I know it is a crazy dream to have, but heck, why not, you know?" Below his bio was a link to his personal Gamer Geek Review website. Here he would post his takes on the latest in gaming news and controversy. These usually consisted of extremely short paragraphs summarizing other publications like IGN. Shortly after its creation, his site was promoted on Newgrounds by an account named Anemic Grav. The only posts from this account are directing users to the blog, claiming it belongs to a friend who invited him on his podcast. Considering the only other online activity linked to the Anemic Grav username is a DeviantArt page with one censored post labeled Penis Man, it's almost certainly a throwaway account used by Tipster himself. In 2009, Tipster wrote an introduction for himself and his website on Gavatar, an early precursor to sites like Linktree, where he says, "I grew up in Fontana, California, and I have always been a gamer. I always tried to stay with the latest gaming trends, and I was the guy my friends would turn to in order to find out what games were worth their time and which ones were better just to ignore." Throughout his time online, Robert would also host several other domains including Gamer Geek Network, a community site that boasted a grand total of 8 members. There was also the Tech Tipster and Your Geeky Tipster, where he would post about more broad topics such as his frustration with Facebook's moderation team. "Facebook has, again, blocked my account from sending out friends requests on the ground that I have continued to add strangers when in fact I have not sent out a single friends request, as well as cancelled all prior friends requests since the last block. I am tired of the BS and will discontinue use of my personal Facebook account. Tipster would also keep track of important upcoming events, including an anime expo and shouting out his birthday 3 times in a single day. While his various websites weren't gaining major notoriety, it was clear Tipster was enjoying his life. In 2012, he posted a review on Foursquare of his local In-N-Out burger, giving it a 9 out of 10, writing, "Order the grilled cheese sandwich. It's on their secret menu and is quite good. Yummy." Tipster's many grilled cheese sandwiches were being funded by his job as an IT professional. His side gig as a gaming and tech journalist wasn't bringing in much, if any money at all, but that didn't stop him from trying over and over again. Through the next few years, his videos evolved from tech tips and reviews to a broader range of content, including unboxings, vlogs, and general internet discourse. Although people never showed much interest in Tipster's personal life or tech updates, his videos covering internet controversies slowly found an audience. By 2016, after 10 years on the site, he had amassed just over 12,000 subscribers. He was also now living with his wife, who occasionally appeared alongside him in videos.
Hey there folks, Robert here, your Geeky Tipster, and I'm here with my wife Cindy today. How are you doing today, sweetheart? You doing good?
By all accounts, Tipster had a simple, peaceful, and happy life. He even began multi-streaming to his humble community on YouTube and Twitch. But beneath the surface, his channel's relatively slow growth began to get under his skin. On May 13th, 2016, he took to Twitter writing, "A friend just sent me a really messed up message. I'd be lying if I said it didn't hurt or get me down, but I won't let it keep me down." He later posted a video elaborating on this tweet.
And essentially what this person said was that me working on YouTube is pointless. There's no value to it. There's no worth to it. Why do I do it? It's just a total waste of time. I'm wasting my life away in front of the camera, and what I'm doing is going to amount to nothing.
In spite of this hurtful message and attacks he had been getting from various online trolls, Tipster reaffirmed that he wasn't going anywhere. This resilience paid off when just a few months later, an unexpected figure gave his channel a major boost.
I'm in shock right now. I just wrapped up my stream, and I'm in shock right now because I got raided by Zoe Burger. I did not expect that. Apparently she was doing a stream where she was just raiding tons and tons of people, and I happened to be one of them. Today was honestly a rough day. That made my night. If you're watching this, Zoe, thank you so much.
Zoe Burger is a name you likely haven't heard in years, but in 2017 she was one of several women leading the charge in testing the limits of YouTube's live stream policies. To be more specific, she claims she would post her own nudes at 1 million subscribers, a milestone she quickly reached. At the time, she was one of the most controversial figures on the sites, collaborating with other large YouTubers like John Scarce, and getting a diss track made on her by Ricegum where he makes an astute observation that her nipples look strange. Getting a shout out from Zoe Burger near the peak of her popularity was a big deal, and she even began shaking her butt at the camera in hopes it would encourage more of her viewers to subscribe to Tipster. As a result, he quickly surpassed 14,000 subs. This boost in viewership was the push he needed to go all in on streaming and content creation. He stopped maintaining the Your Geeky Tipster website and finally rebranded his channel away from his real name to just Tipster. Along with this rebrand came a new intro to all of his videos, where he can be seen holding 2 vintage Nest Zappers, while a remix of Dr. Dre's The Next Episode featuring Snoop Dogg plays in the background. This interesting choice of music eventually resulted in every single video on his channel getting copyright claimed in 2019, losing all of his ad revenue and forcing him to no longer use the song.
Smoke weed every day.
For the time being, however, Tipster's career was on a sharp upward trajectory. He began making inroads with other commentary and drama YouTubers, as that had now become the main focus of his channel. One of these YouTubers he befriended was Tommy C, whose show Tipster appeared on in 2018. The stream ended positively with Tommy asking his viewers to subscribe to Robert's channel. Soon after, the two began fighting on Twitter when Tommy accused Tipster of liking a tweet that suggested he was a negligent alcoholic father who allowed children to to urinate on him. These were allegations that Tipster adamantly denied, writing, "The things Tommy claims I said, I never actually said them, nor did I share/like any post about him as he claims, and he's yet to provide any evidence." The following week, Tommy C returned with receipts of Tipster liking several posts, including one that says, "Tommy C is like that awkward drunk uncle that gets pee on as soon as he falls asleep." Who the hell has heard of the trope of children peeing on drunk family members? What is this? Tommy had since removed his like from this tweet before claiming Tommy had no evidence, but unfortunately it had already been archived. This minor spat was just a glimpse into Tipster's true character, an inability to admit faults, something that would only become more pronounced over time. It was also not the last occasion his liked posts on Twitter would cause him trouble. Regardless, his fanbase, whom he dubbed the Tipster Mafia, continued to grow over the coming years. Notably his back and forth with Suzy Lu in 2020, an insane woman abusing YouTube's copyright system, put his channel in the spotlight, with many coming to his defense. He had gained friends, street cred, and an audience that after over a decade of effort would allow him to be a full-time content creator, his one dream in life. Unfortunately, with this sliver of fame came scrutiny that he was not prepared to handle, which would end up starting his own demise. What needs to be understood is that Robert had a knack for getting himself into debates he wasn't equipped for about things that didn't even need to be debated in the first place. An early example of this took place in 2021 after another YouTuber named Oki took to Twitter to announce, "I hate Tipster. He's just a lame bottom feeder." This prompted Tipster to invite him on his stream so the two could have a debate whether or not he was indeed a lame bottom feeder. As you can imagine, this debate was not very fruitful, with Tipster showing DMs from Oki complimenting him months prior, and proceeding to kick him off the call before he could respond.
Yeah,
I was being honest when I said you are the only commentary drama channel that I watch. So I find it really interesting that you would call me a bottom feeder when you were literally choking on my DMs less than a year ago, dude.
Well, let's just, okay. I think you're overestimating how big your is.
No, you were kissing my ass less than a year ago, and now I'm a bottom feeder who you hate when I literally don't even interact with you, dog. Quite frankly, I'm not interested in even continuing this conversation with you anymore.
Are you done yet? Or can I?
Yeah,
can I
we are done. Get the out, stupid.
Afterward, Tipster posted, "That was fun, LOL." Oki responded, "Yeah, screaming and then kicking me was a total own." Tipster later cut this debate down for a stream highlight titled, "The most dishonest hack I have ever spoken to." Upon seeing this, Oki responded again saying, "This guy invited me onto his stream to explain why I don't like him and then proceeded to spurg out and kick me 14 minutes in. Most useless convo of my life." Even in mundane interactions, Tipster still managed to repeatedly make a fool of himself. Similar to Drama Alert, he tried to popularize the hashtag TipsterNews, although today the hashtag is exclusively used to mock him. This isn't because Tipster has done anything completely unforgivable, but rather because many would see him as a buffoon. In one notable instance of this supposed buffoonery, Tipster responded to someone calling him greasy and obese by saying, "I still get more action than you. Ladies love the jiggly jiggle," with a Homer Simpson gif attached. It's unknown why he felt the need to respond to this random Twitter user, or why he thought this response would result in anything other than further ridicule. Random Twitter posters getting under his skin was something Tipster could not avoid. On May 12, 2022, Amaranth posted a video titled, "Why I'm Quitting OnlyFans." Tipster somehow managed to screenshot this 1 minute after it was uploaded, and posted it to his Twitter account with the caption, "The simp's bout to be wildin', LOL." When other users pointed out the odd timing of a screenshot and the fact that he appeared to already have watched 30 seconds into the video, Tipster responded by unfollowing and blocking them, including accounts that didn't even tag him directly. This banning spree continued until half the community was blocked by Tipster, including many of his friends, at which point he posted an anime gif with the caption, "Twitter feed looking less cancer at the moment. Kinda wish I did this sooner." He followed this up with another anime gif saying, "Unfollow a few people and everyone starts coping, living rent-free." Tipster clearly wanted people to believe that he was unbothered by the whole ordeal. This is likely why he privated his Twitter account before posting another anime gif captioned, "Stepping away from the net for a bit." Don't know when I'll be back, but right now my mental health is more important and I need to focus on that more than anything. I'll be back when the time is right. He then wiped his entire Twitter account. This Amaranth situation was made funnier due to the reputation Tipster had already garnered online for being an unapologetic simp. Back in 2019, Robert was browsing his Twitter homepage when he saw a beautiful damsel come across his timeline. In her post she wrote, "Thank God I'm a lesbian." This upset Tipster greatly and he replied, "Why do all the hot ones not like Hashtag feels bad man, LOL." Tragically, the girl he was responding to turned out to be 17 with her posting underage in her bio. At the time, Tipster was 32 and, as mentioned prior, married. While many fans hoped that Tipster just didn't realize the girl was underage, that didn't stop him from getting laughed at by the entire community. If this was an isolated incident of Tipster giving in to his most primal desires, it's likely I wouldn't be making this video. Unfortunately, thirsting over random women on his timeline was a habitual problem for Tipster, and he surrounded himself with almost any woman who was willing to give him attention. He even included Lord of the Goth Mommies in his Twitter bio, and eventually sold various Goth Mommy themed merchandise, which I'm sure he sold a ton of. As one random commenter put it, Tipster's Goth Mommy harem primarily consisted of, quote, busted middle-aged women well past their prime. One of these beautiful ladies was an alcoholic mother of 9 who went by AP over 9K. She often appeared in Discord calls on Tipster's streams. In one iconic moment after ordering a delicious meal of Taco Bell on DoorDash, she can be heard calling her dasher the N-word after he canceled her delivery.
To be nice, like, oh, my mom's hot. Like, I don't think that's weird.
Wait,
Wait,
did you
what?
say that Edward?
Okay. Okay, yeah,
bro,
that's
see,
not
this is
okay.
what I'm fucking
That's
talking
not
about.
okay. Well, that's why she got removed from the call, because it's not okay.
Get the out of here. I know you did it, but I'm like, dude, you can't trust these white women, bro.
Clearly she was great company for Tipster to keep around, and after one of many instances of Tipster being mocked on Twitter, wherein he deleted most of the videos on his channel and declared he was leaving the community for good, she took it upon herself to defend him, claiming another commenter named Boblax wasn't a good friend to Tipster. This was confusing as Boblax was one of the few people not making fun of Robert at the time. The two got on a call with Tipster joining to mediate, although it was nearly impossible to follow why AP was upset.
You said this tweet is f***ed up, correct? This tweet I made about Tipster's f***ed up, correct?
No, I think you're a giant piece of shit. I think you're a really f***ed up, shitty person, honestly.
Damn!
Like, just in general. But that's probably because I'm actually an adult.
The debate ended with Tipster panicking and deleting the entire server mid-conversation.
Oh, I'm kicked from the server. Wait, what? Wait, did Tipster give her... Tipster deleted the server. The server got deleted. Oh my god.
The following day, Robert posted an apology tweet writing, "I wanted to take a moment to apologize to both AP and Boblax for what happened last night. The whole thing was a big misunderstanding that led to a huge mess. Also, I apologize to AP for not making it clear Boblax was live. I assume she knew and that was a mistake. I am going to take a few days offline. After last night, I just need a few days to myself to decompress." Rather than taking a few days off though, Tipster returned the following day to announce he had taken some Delta 8 gummies. In the end, it seems his apology was not enough for AP, as less than a month later, Tipster had to publicly cut ties with her after finding out she had participated in an anti-Tipster Discord server. She was also now claiming Tipster had intentionally misled her about the debate to being a private call that wouldn't be streamed. Robert responded by saying, "Now you're outright lying. I never promised you it was private. Everyone knew it was live. The VC channel the call took place on was literally called on air, and I told you he was live but you weren't paying attention." He then posted another sad anime gif captioned, "Sometimes I wonder why I bother being a loyal friend to people who clearly don't deserve it. 'Cause when it comes time to return the favor, I'm always kicked to the curb. I'm too kind for my own good." This was the last straw for AP, who posted a Notes app response claiming that she was drunk during the Boblax stream, although she denies being an alcoholic, writing, "If I was actually an alcoholic, don't you think I would know where my limit is?" And to answer her question, no. She then did the only logical thing and leaked all of her DMs with Tipster. The carnage left in the wake of these DM leaks was immeasurable, and the event went on to be known as Tipstergate. In these messages, AP can be seen sending Tipster screenshots of a user named Spondyle getting 0 likes posting into the void about her. She was clearly upset that Tipster wouldn't defend her from this menace. Tipster calmly responded with a level head writing, "I'm just gonna leave the internet, okay? I screwed up and now everyone is mad at me. So I am just gonna leave and I am not coming back." AP reassures him by saying, "I will never be the person that gets mad and turns on you or spills things you told me in confidence. That is not who I am." Of course, since we're reading this message right now, she did exactly that, which is why we now have something known as the ripped pants incident. This is because also in the leaked messages, Tipster stated, "Sat down in my office chair this morning and my pants split in the ass. Had to rush home and change, lol. Should have took a picture of the pants. It's crazy." Besides talking about wardrobe malfunctions, many of the leaked DMs were also having Tipster attempting to rizz up this married mother of 9. "I thought you looked great in that photo, to be honest. Goth mommy could get it. Notice the new PFP. Not gonna lie, looking kinda hot in hot pink. Even hotter, goth mommy, haha. You a hot goth, haha. Your friend kinda cute, haha. Ayo, she's 16. In one exchange, Tipster can be seen giving AP his personal phone number after the two had only spoken for a few months, following it up with, "Anything for a pink-haired hot goth mommy, LMAO, JK. What can I say? I got a thing for goth chicks." In the wake of this betrayal, Tipster leaked a message she had sent prior to posting their DM saying, "This whole thing is out of control, but I figured I may as well drag us both to hell." He also made a response of his own addressing the various goth mommy related texts, claiming he and AP had just been good friends and nothing more. Regardless of any perceived wrongdoing on his part, Tipster should have never spoken to this woman again. This is a conclusion he unfortunately didn't share, as the two were spotted together on a podcast less than 3 months later. Supposedly, Tipster's Discord mods had tried to convince him to ban AP, and he responded by leaving the server.
So after me and AP and some of the other people kind of patched things up, like I was comfortable allowing them to come back and join the community. And there were some situations with some of the admins where, like, understandably, they were uncomfortable about them coming back, where like they were looking for any excuse to get rid of AP. And on the 4th day, I got so tired of like hearing this. It's obvious that you guys want to do this, so just do it. And he's like, "Okay, we did it." And I'm like, "All right, cool." And I left the server because I was
All
like,
balls.
yeah, I was like really mad about that because I'm like, "Look, dude, like I understand why people are kind of on edge about them coming back, but at the same time, like, why are we banning people off of nothing? Like there's nothing there."
Patching things up with AP and allowing her back into his community turned out to be a poor decision for Tipster, when just a few months later the same user she had complained to him about named Spondyle reappeared on Discord, calling her a quote, "meth head whore." In response, the mother of the year had her young child call this internet rando the N-word.
Actually, you know what? No, keep me in the call. Come here. Say Spondyle is a do it.
No.
Do it.
No.
Spondyle is a yeah, call CPS. That's funny because a lot of people have tried, but it doesn't work, does it?
This clip was posted to Twitter under the Tipster News hashtag, and as a result, the poster was swiftly blocked, with Tipster writing, "It's dumb that I am expected to respond to allegations that have nothing to do with me." He later confronted this ne'er-do-well on a Twitter space and elaborated on why they needed to be blocked.
Yo, you want to know why you got blocked?
Why did I get blocked, Tipster?
You're trying really hard to associate with me with a situation that I had nothing to do with. What the does this have to do with me? I have nothing to do with what AP did. I'm not AP's handler.
Did I say you were?
No, but like, what do you think is the point of like mentioning me in the thread? Like, what's the point of that? She did something stupid.
You're her friends, and that's how people know her.
Yeah, I guess so.
This is the Tipster cycle on full display. He surrounds himself with insane people who inevitably do insane things, and then needlessly inserts himself into the middle of it. He was never asked to comment about AP and wasn't even tagged in the original thread, yet here he is on Twitter, having a meltdown anyways. His tantrum continued on Discord, where he was asked, "Are you gonna disassociate from AP?" He responded by unfriending the person who asked and blocking them on Twitter. Spondyle later posted a thread claiming the father of the kid who called him the N-word had reached out alleging CPS was already investigating AP, and that one of her children had been born with meth in their system. This is the type of person Tipster will repeatedly fall on his sword for in exchange for a potential 2 a.m. Gooner call. With these revelations, it seems Tipster finally cut off contact with AP for good, replacing her with a new goth mommy who went by Rum. You would hope by now he would have learned his lesson, but you would be wrong. On February 19th, 2023, Rum was caught liking a post containing what appeared to be an explicit drawing of a child. Ordinarily, this wouldn't present a major issue for Tipster, as Rum was not a key figure on his streams and nobody was even asking him to comment. Of course, this is Tipster we're talking about, so none of that mattered. One of his goth mommies was in peril, and it was time for her valiant knight to step in while debating none other than Boblax on the issue. As he'd state, I see the usual suspects are trying to call someone out for liking Lolly when they don't know what Lolly actually is. Some things never change. It's Lolly, Tipster. It's a cartoon of a child with nothing but a strip of clothing covering the flat chest and crotch. Why is it a child? 'Cause it had small tits? Guess grown women never had small tits before. Small tits! The girl has no tits, Tipster. It's clearly a child. I have seen video game characters that look like this and no one bats an eye. When prompted to provide an example of any video game character that looked even remotely similar to the image in question, Tipster responded by saying, "My point is that this community is full of spurgs who know nothing about anime or anime culture commenting on anime culture, and it's dumb, dude." This was the hill Tipster was choosing to die on, literally posting, "I stand by my take. Rum did nothing wrong. I will die on that hill." Evidently upset after seeing this on his timeline, Keemstar replied saying, "You won't even debate the topic on my show." Tipster politely declined the invitation, but that's when PackGod joined the conversation to lay down the law. The definition of a lolly is a young or young-looking girl character in Japanese anime and manga. I don't see why you would defend the open sexualization of that. While this attempt to reason with Robert was commendable, in the end, not even PackGod was strong enough to overpower Tipster's block button. The following day, Keemstar and PackGod loaded up a stream to talk about the situation when, in spite of previously refusing to do so, Tipster called in to explain his side.
And you have loyalty to your friends, so you're trying to defend your friend, right? But in this case, you lost. You lost on Twitter. You lost with your other friends. You lost with me. You lost PackGod. You lost the audience. Everyone disagrees with you.
I genuinely don't care about what people think about me on this issue.
As usual, Tipster was spiraling and struggling to defend himself, but he still had one last card to play in this debate.
This is about people liking stylized anime art, and people are trying to turn it into pedophilia, and I think it's like fucking gross. We're trying to turn this into Tipster likes Lolly and Tipster.
What am I supposed to
yourself?
What am I supposed to think when you're saying that you're gonna fucking die on this hill, Tips? Now he left. He left. I'm gonna click on Tipster right here. Verified Tipster, right? He fucking blocked me.
I'm not blocked.
Yeah, because you have a pussy.
Clearly stressed out, he decided to take a brief intermission from all of the drama when an OnlyFans creator came across his timeline, holding several Monster energy drink cans. Looking for an excuse to interact with her, he quote tweeted the post saying, "Turkey Tom's dream girl?" In a reply, one user wrote, "I'm pretty sure Tom is in a happy relationship, and not all guys want to leave their girl for a random e-girl, Tipster. Maybe you should stop projecting." Tipster fired back with, "When I see people this concerned about my marriage, there is only one conclusion I can come to. This dude and others like him want to me, and they're mad because my wife gets to and they don't."
What? What the fuck?
These two continued their back and forth, concluding with Tipster writing, "Fat boy..." These two continued their back and forth, concluding with Tipster writing, "Fat boy bussy is best bussy." The only conclusion I can derive from this is that Tipster likes being penetrated, which I suppose is foreshadowing for later in the video. It was also around this time that other users noticed Tipster had begun liking similar lolly posts from the same account that posted the original drawing. This was likely meant to serve as some strange act of solidarity with Rum. Eventually, Rum herself joined the stream with Keemstar and PatGod, and completely dismantled the ground Tipster had been defending her from.
Like,
Okay, Rum.
As soon as it was like brought to my attention that it was in my likes, I just went and unliked it, and I didn't think anything of it.
Okay, so to confirm, Rum, you had accidentally liked that photo, correct?
Yeah.
Not only did Rum concede that the image was probably Lolly, but she hadn't even intentionally liked the post. It was also later confirmed that the drawing was indeed of a child. With this in mind, surely Tipster would back down from his position or at least move on, but no. Instead, he posted a response video to his channel blaming everyone else besides himself.
I have never defended the existence of lolly content, and I never will. Now, we did eventually come to the conclusion that this was actually lolly based on some digging we did on the account that originally posted it. Well, actually, it was Shota. Basically lolly, but for male characters, for those of you who are unaware. Which is also kind of funny in its own way because everyone was arguing about how it looked like a little girl, and it was actually a boy. And I was just looking for a bit of clarification just to be sure. But in my opinion, my biggest mistake was trying to have this conversation in this community, because they too aren't equipped to tackle this conversation properly. This community doesn't have the intellectual capacity to have these kinds of conversations. I get that we're human and we make mistakes sometimes, but y'all this one up so damn bad, it's crazy. And these are just some of the many issues I have had with the commentary community over the course of the past year. And it's the reason for the past year that I have been distancing myself from this community. Y'all made a mountain out of a grain of sand. Keemstar was saying that everyone should come together and oust me from the community, the same way they did with Flamenco. And to that I say, don't bother. I'll see myself on out.
In spite of constantly putting himself at the center of any turmoil that surrounded him, he seems to believe it's actually everyone else forcing him into this position. His proclamation that he would be leaving the community was also meaningless at this point, considering it's probably the 5th time he said this in the past 2 years. All this drama left Tipster in a precarious position, with few friends and even fewer goth mommies still associating with him. This is when he saw a golden opportunity to jump ship entirely to a much more welcoming community.
On August 5th, I was woken up by London Police Services, pointing an assault rifle in my face at my home.
The disgraced creator, Keffals, is somebody I've discussed previously on my channel over her various antics. By 2023, she had already made herself a pariah in most online spaces due to a series of slanderous lies she spread about other online figures and her local police department. She did, however, still maintain a small following of ardent supporters, and among them was Tipster for some reason. That reason became more clear when, upon doing a scroll through of Keffals' Instagram, one user came to the horrifying realization that Tipster had liked every single post. Even on his stream, Tipster was giving Keffals unusually positive coverage.
So Keffals usually kind of dresses up like tomboyish, right? Can we just agree that she cleans up real nice? You know what I'm saying? Like when she, maybe puts on a little bit of lipstick and, puts on a nice outfit and stuff like that, she cleans up like a shiny new penny. Is that wrong for me to say? I don't think so.
Robert's association with Keffals began to draw the ire of many of his followers who were increasingly outraged by her behavior, including attempts to deplatform creators she didn't like, trying to get the internet gossip forum Kiwi Farms taken down, and founding the controversial Discord server Catboy Ranch that did not require age verification to join, leading to accusations of grooming. Apparently, none of these were red flags to Tipster, who went on to use a clip of her talking for a soundboard.
We love Gooner games.
Oh, I'm getting so horny. Thank you, Daddy. I'll shut up.
We love us some Gooner games around here, okay?
People's disdain for Keffals very quickly got under Tipster's skin, who once again privated his Twitter account before making a post announcing he would be leaving the internet. I'm probably gonna be taking a brief break for a couple days. Admittedly, my mental health hasn't been the best as of late, and I just need some time to decompress. He returned to Twitter less than 12 hours later. Given Robert's history with women on the internet, it's hardly a stretch to imagine he had ulterior motives with befriending Keffals. Of course, it upset Tipster greatly when anyone pointed that fact out. This is a common trope with those weirdos. I am friends with women, therefore I must want to sleep with them. It's a very caveman-brained way of thinking. Keffels was not the only girl Tipster was pursuing, as one user caught him liking posts from an OnlyFans creator on Instagram. Once again, he responded by saying, "Didn't you know, guys? Married men can't like content featuring women." It was around this time another one of Robert's goth mommies, who went by Hannah Animal, turned on him. While it's unclear what exactly sparked this betrayal, she replied to another OnlyFans creator who went by Tiny Dancer, writing, "Tipster sent me your nudes, by the way, after you sent it to him." Supposedly, the picture sent to Tipster was meant to be used as promotion for her OnlyFans account, and she was simply asking for his opinion. This raises multiple questions. Why would anyone want Tipster's opinion on their OnlyFans content? And also, why did Tipster instantly send this to another girl? The answer to these questions remain elusive. However, he did eventually respond saying, "I can 100% own the criticism that I should not have sent the picture in question to Hannah." Hannah was not satisfied with this response and continued posting about Tipster, claiming he had added her on Snapchat without ever being sent her username. After the loss of Hannah Animal from his goth mommy corral, Tipster's roster had an opening. He immediately tried filling it with various transgender members of Keffel's community. In one post, he can be seen replying to a trans woman holding up a bottle of her own breast milk, urging the poster to drink it. I looked it up because I couldn't help myself, and yes, trans women can have breast milk, which our friend seemed very interested in the taste of. In this era, his liked post did not fare much better, with one captioned, "What is the first thing you would do to me if you had me strapped down to a bed?" When Boblax re-emerged to remind Tipster that he was in fact already married, Robert replied calling him obsessed and weird. Keffels herself eventually grew tired of Tipster's neurotic and strange behavior, releasing a video titled, "Why I'm No Longer Friends with Tipster." In the upload, she shows a supposed leaked DM wherein he claims he is planning on cutting her off. As it turned out, this was a poorly orchestrated publicity stunt, with the two hoping they could fool their many detractors. Regardless, there was still a nugget of truth that managed to slip its way into her video.
"Tipster, I literally stuck my neck out for you. I introduced you to all my friends, even though you're kind of like a creepy chaser, man. Like, you slide into my trans friends' DMs, and you're way too friendly. Like, there's obviously something going on there. It's really not cool. And I'm just, like, really disappointed."
Tipster soon returned to the internet, pretending nothing had happened. By this point, most of his friends had turned on him, or simply distanced themselves. That being said, one of the few who still remained by his side in spite of everything was Boblax. While he had been an outspoken critic of Tipster and occasionally poked fun at him, the two had never truly cut ties. That was until June of 2023, when their friendship ended for good. It started with Boblax mistakenly leaking one of his own alt accounts on stream that went by the username Throbbin' Horsecock. The majority of posts from this account were unserious and borderline nonsensical, but Keffels latched on to one post in particular, implying he was transphobic. As usual, Tipster soon joined in, taking Keffels' side for no discernible reason. Boblax decided the best course of action was to respond from his alt account with posts like, "Damn, Keffels is thick. She one of the real ones for sure." This strategy only served to infuriate her further as she blocked Boblax before posting, "Boblax is currently being a massive creep and using a burner account to sexually harass me." In response, Boblax posted from his main account showing DMs from Keffels, where she had sent him a video of her breasts jiggling. He also attached a screenshot of messages with Tipster from several days prior where Robert says, "You've never said anything that I view as transphobic. I don't think Keffels thinks you're a fake ally." Seeing his messages being posted as a defense against Keffels upset Tipster greatly, so he decided to bring Boblax on a stream for a debate.
Yeah, so that's why I'm upset. I mean, and hopefully you do forgive me, because, like, I did not think, I genuinely just didn't think you would mind, because it's not like you said anything secret. Like, I feel like everything you send in those DMs are stuff you'd say publicly too, right? But,
yeah, I don't know. There's nothing bad in it. I just don't like the idea of, like, just putting my shit out there, like, just completely, like, unprovoked. Because, again, it felt like I was being dragged into something that didn't have anything to do with me.
I think it's relevant. I didn't think it was random, but, you know.
Tipster says this, ignoring the fact that he had already inserted himself for no reason as mentioned prior. Keffels only continued to lambaste Boblax after the stream, and now claiming he was also racist. Her evidence for this was an infamous song Boblax made several years prior regarding the Black Lives Matter movement.
Some people don't know the struggle of being f***ing black. Sometimes we say cause it's cool, but if anyone else is they are racist.
Following this, Boblax and Tipster had a back and forth on Twitter, although only Boblax's side has been archived. He says, "Why are you not defending me against Keffels slandering me as a racist? She's slandering me, Tipster. You defended Rum when she was being called a pedo, but you can't defend me now because it's Keffels doing it." Robert then messaged Boblax personally saying, "If you are looking for a reason to cut me off, just do it. You already said on Augie's stream that you were upset with me, so just go, dude." Robert not getting the response he had hoped for, he took it upon himself to block Boblax, officially ending their multi-year friendship. As is customary at this point, during this drama, another girl came forward with more screenshots of Tipster being weird in her DMs, and even offering to kiss her before deleting the message after she ghosted him. On the bright side, Robert noticed that he and Keffels were briefly trending on Twitter as a result of the whole ordeal, although as many pointed out, this was due to everybody laughing at them. One of the people mocking him at the time was the YouTuber Turkey Tom, who soon after posted a video documenting many of Robert's more cringe-worthy posts. His video ended with a diss track featuring Brandon Buckingham, wherein he danced in front of a rented Lamborghini.
Italy after Oreos, word up to Nick. Before we wrap up, got a question real quick. Why do all the hot ones not like dick?
Tipster seemed to enjoy the video, posting, "Okay, I won't lie, this diss track kinda slaps," with a Snoop Dogg gif attached. Given his track record of almost anything getting under his skin, many people saw this as a cope. To make matters worse, Tom's video was the catalyst for people to begin digging into Tipster's history online, and documenting his behavior for kiwi farms. What they found was truly fascinating. On September 20th, 2006, an account based in Fontana, California made a post on a developer forum that reads, "Hello, my name is Robert Santion, and one of my biggest dreams is to develop a revolutionary operating system. I know, I am aiming pretty high, but it has always been a dream of mine. Anyways, I have one problem. I know absolutely nothing about OS development. No code knowledge, no idea what I need, where to start, or even how to get the knowledge and supplies I need." Unfortunately, Terry Davis wasn't on this forum to help, and his pleas would go unanswered as other users on the forum were not too keen on walking him through the intricacies of creating an entire operating system from scratch. While a bit humorous on its own, the reason this was so important is because the username was quickly traced back to a raunchy hookup site. Not only that, but for some reason this account, also based in Fontana, California, had its gender set to female. If there was any doubt that this was him, the provided birth date was January 1st, 1987, just 6 days before Tipster's. When confronted, Robert adamantly denied these allegations, claiming it couldn't have been him because he was happily married.
And with GNN, it appears an old dating profile from 2008 where you pretended to be a woman has surfaced. Any comment? I've never used any dating services at all, so if you think you found something about me being on a dating service, that's not the case. I mean, I met my wife when I was still in high school, so I never had to use a dating profile. Where do people come up with this shit?
Another ancient Tipster artifact that was uncovered was a clip of him showing a list of videos he had flagged to YouTube, claiming they had been critical of him.
Pretty public in the past with the fact that when I was a smaller creator, I flagged down quite a few videos that were critical of me. In fact, we can kind of scroll through the list here.
While it's impossible to make out any details from this clip, it's likely Robert was abusing YouTube's takedown system. Whatever the cause may be, his reputation was now in the dumpster fully. Along with losing most of his friends, his viewership had now dwindled to just 10% of what it had once been.
When I was part of the commentary crowd, my live streams were pulling 500 to 1,000 live viewers, and my videos were at minimum getting 10K views a video. And now I've gotten to a point where, like, on a good day, I'll have like 200 live viewers on a stream, but I'm averaging about 150 during topics. And my videos are lucky if they break 1,000 sometimes. So it's been a big dip to leave the commentary crowd. I'll say this, I don't regret it. A lot of the reason I left is just because my morals didn't align with that community anymore. It was a mental health choice. It wasn't good for my mental health. So I don't regret leaving. Like, even if my channel never bounces back, I don't regret leaving.
This rapid loss of fans triggered YouTube to stop promoting his channel, even removing it from search results. This is something Robert tried to resolve by reaching out to a YouTube representative, although his efforts weren't in vain. He was essentially told to just make better content, something that appeared to be far out of Tipster's reach. I say this because the majority of his videos and streams were now heavily political in nature, falling more in line with the content Keffals produced. Of course, this only further alienated his audience, who had followed him for less serious internet drama content. Fortunately for Tipster, he did get a momentary boost in viewership. Sadly, this boost largely came from onlookers who were mesmerized by the train wreck he would soon create.
Dude, you can just say n***ers.
On February 6, 2024, political streamer Vosh was attempting to demonstrate the fundamentals of men's fashion for his viewers, showing off a sleek jacket. Tragically, when he went to save an image of the jacket, his recently saved files popped up on stream.
You can see this is an example of the kind of structure that I'm referring to.
Vosh quickly rushed to delete the stream VOD, but it was too late. Next to a folder labeled taxes were countless pornographic drawings of young-looking girls as well as horses. After seeing this clip, Tipster took it upon himself to drop some unasked-for wisdom on Twitter, advising Vosh against viewing or saving pornography on his computer in the future. Most others were not as charitable or kind to Vosh after seeing the sort of things he was into. One of these detractors was Ethan Klein, who commented on the situation during an episode of the H3 podcast. To provide context for his viewers, he also played additional clips from Vosh's past.
The argument that I was making, and I've made this argument a bunch of times, and I've addressed this poorly made argument a bunch of times here on this stream. Why is the possession of child pornography immoral? Because it hurts people to make child pornography, yeah? Because you have to hurt children to make it. That's why it's immoral. It's not magically immoral. It's immoral because of the harm that is caused by it. So, do we not possess other things that
you sound like
hurt
someone who's
people
trying to
in their
rationalize
production?
child abuse. Like that is an insane. That's actually.
It's like, okay, this is wrong.
That is not better.
For whatever reason, Tipster was appalled by this coverage, saying, "Genuinely disappointed seeing what Ethan did to Vosh earlier tonight. He used the same out-of-context clips alt-writers have used to defame Vosh time and time again." Ethan quickly responded to this post on his Instagram story.
He posts my tweet and says, "Cheers, my horse. Love ya. No pedo."
By this point, Tipster's reputation was already so bad that nobody bothered to take him seriously. This didn't stop him from continuing to lambaste Ethan, claiming he was a snake. I have no idea what caused Tipster to become this enraged, but his next move was to load up a stream and begin yelling at his chatters, calling them sheep for siding with Ethan. If only Tipster spent as much time exercising as he does defending Lolly, he'd be running marathons by now. A large part of this stream was also spent demanding Keemstar stop typing in his chat. Even after being banned, this was to little avail as he simply came back on an alt account. As Tipster began banning people in his chat who wrote anything negative against Vosh, one of his mods spoke up saying, "The image Vosh had should definitely be criticized. I don't think it's right hiding those comments expressing their disgust." Their moderator status was quickly removed. Tipster's comment section did not fare much better, with the few remaining fans making statements like, "And with that, I'll be unsubscribing. Never mind the fact that you're willing to associate with terrible people like Vosh and Keffals, but the fact that you're willing to bat for the former after what's been leaked is insane." On the bright side, Robert was once again trending on Twitter, something he was overjoyed about. In a stream the following week, he did attempt to stem the bleeding somewhat by announcing he was throwing out all of his anime.
This whole situation has honestly ruined anime for me so fucking much that I never want to watch anime again. I don't want anything to do with anime. I got my waist bin here and I got some of my anime. We got Death Note, one of my favorites. It, throw it in the bin. We got some Dragon Ball Z, another great anime show. Throw it in the fucking bin. Ethan calls people he views as lolicons, he calls them lollipops. So we'll get rid of Lollipop Chainsaw. I'm so sick of anime at this point. I want nothing to do with it.
This gesture didn't seem to move anyone to his side, and Robert soon established a new rule that if anybody mentioned the Vosh incident or his defense of it, they would be immediately, you guessed it, banned.
Mods, Crush the skull, thank you.
This inspired detractors to see how fast they could speedrun getting removed from Tipster's livestream.
Ban any variation of laughter in the chat.
In spite of his best efforts to bury the situation, it still haunted him everywhere he went. In one instance, he joined a call with a small streamer to discuss an unrelated topic. That's when an avowed consumer of Lolicon joined the call and proceeded to debate Tipster on why he continued to defend Vosh. Somehow, Robert lost this debate.
Being a hypocrite is a part of being human, you know?
I don't see it as being hypocritical, though. I think I'm pretty clear on what my rationale is here.
You already say that, you know, the folder is probably like lolly, right?
I mean, I haven't seen it, but like people say it is, so I'll
Okay.
take their word for it.
So if that is already the case, and therefore the logical conclusion probably is that Vosh is consuming lolly, right?
If he downloaded it, like, I
Yes,
guess you
and
could say that, but
specifically
like,
in that
but what
manner.
my thing is, like, did he know? That's my thing.
The
This seems
lolly
like a
picture sticking
real
out.
stretch. In my opinion, this seems like a real
What?
stretch. But I'm giving you like the logic that I had when I was willing to give him the benefit of doubt on it, and it just seems like you don't like my opinion, which is fine.
No, it's not about
I
your
didn't
opinion
even
whatsoever.
come here to talk about like this stupid shit, all right? Like I came here for a completely different conversation.
That's
Keldosh,
what
I
I'm-
told you it was a bad idea for me to come on this show, and like I'm out of here. Peace.
Wait, Tipster, you could have.
Even Keffels was now beginning to distance herself from Tipster. Initially, she had gone to bat for him against Ethan, but she quickly changed her tune as the tides turned. Eventually, she unfollowed Robert on Twitter and released a video blaming him for backlash she had received, and claimed his call-out post on Ethan was stupid.
A lot of people said that I needlessly inserted myself into all of that drama that happened, and I wasn't planning on weighing in. None of this was my problem. But then my friend Tipster decided to call out Ethan Klein. And then when Ethan Klein responded, I was like, okay, I have two friends now who are getting put on blast by a really large content creator. I decided that I was going to get into the mud because I care about my friends. I don't want to see my friends getting attacked. And that was a huge mistake. But sometimes you just gotta sit back. You don't always need to get directly in the mud.
In leaked messages with Tipster, somebody named Fembro encouraged him to stop associating with Keffels, showing him that on top of everything else, she had now been interacting with some of his most vocal detractors. Robert responded by saying, "Do you think I don't know about this? Are you stupid?" He then blocked Fembro. Keffels was not the only one turning on him at the time. In March of that year, one of his moderators had their permissions revoked. In response, they leaked the twist that while Robert was defending Lolly at night, during the day he worked at a public high school and included screenshots of his annual income, which was 6 figures when including benefits. This level-headed approach of essentially doxing Tipster was certainly unique, although it did not result in their moderator privileges being reinstated. More than anything, this is reflective of the people Robert was associating himself with. After cutting off the toxic commentary community, he replaced them with increasingly unhinged individuals. As part of his rebrand to be more inclusive, Robert began promoting a charity organization called Rainbow Passage. This was a bizarre project that sought to rehouse legal-aged queer people with volunteers over Discord. Upon seeing this, Boblax returned to the Tipsterverse to transvestigate. He found the organizers to be largely unqualified, and discovered volunteers of the charity doxing people in their official Discord server.
This douche, Dr. Blank's phone number. Beep, 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 beep. Feel free to be rude to him. This is a Rainbow Passage Discord server. We have Alice here, who is a volunteer right here. Volunteer.
Tipster, for his part, claimed to have no involvement in the charity beyond retweeting one of their posts. Although this seems to have been a lie, as he was one of only 4 people their official Twitter account followed. Boblax continued to dig deeper into the organization, finding that their director of resettlement engaged in puppy play, as well as 9/11 roleplay. What the hell does that even mean? This sounds like a joke, but it is unfortunately very real and very strange. After covering this on Boblax's stream, the director in question resigned and began angrily messaging people on Discord. This led Tipster to post, "Imagine attacking and harassing a charity because someone you dislike retweeted it. And you harassed the charity so much that you pushed someone to resign from their position. Seek help, you clearly need it." The entire Rainbow Passage group seems to have now rebranded or shut down altogether following this drama. With the charity now gone, Bo Black set his sights back on Tipster.
Dude, why is every response to everything underwear lending service? Dude, why is Tipster only responding and talking about, like, trans people and their... What? Come on, bro. Stop, bro.
Seeing the Rainbow Passage fallout, multiple people reached out to Bo Blacks with screenshots of embarrassing messages Robert had sent over Discord. The first set come directly from Keffel's Catboy Ranch server, which of course Tipster had joined. He can be seen expressing his desire to, quote, cage up other users of the server, as well as discussing HRT and the shape of his man boobs. If it makes you feel any better, my tits look horrible too. The second batch of messages come from Robert's own paywall Discord chat. Here he can be seen exposing his most loyal fans to a photograph of his feet. Of course, no Tipster DM leak would be complete without several messages expressing his love for goth mommies. Many of these logs were tame compared to past leaks and all came from semi-public Discord chats. Regardless, a large spectacle was still made upon their release because by this point Tipster had more hate watchers than genuine viewers. He was spiraling down a very dark path that could only end with a lengthy Kiwi Farms thread and dozens of A-logs attempting to ruin his life. Toastify, a YouTuber who had covered Robert extensively, gave him some very blunt advice. Leave. This was something he did not take to heart. In fact, it was around this time he ended up blocking Rum simply for interacting with one of Toastify's videos. Just 8 days later, the community Tipster had been calling home would collapse in a catastrophic fashion. For the past several weeks, the YouTuber Mudahar had been working on an hour-long expose against Keffels. In the days leading up to its release, Robert attempted to get ahead of the narrative. He tried smearing the investigation as bad faith due to the creator of Kiwi Farms crediting much of the research to his site. When asked what Keffels had specifically done, Tipster replied, nothing. In reality, Keffels had raised over $100,000 on GoFundMe to cover the legal costs of suing her local police department for discrimination after she was swatted. In actuality, she not only lied about the details of the swatting, but also spent the GoFundMe money on vacations, clothes, and abusing drugs.
As more and more shit started happening, I started doing cocaine at the start of 2023. 8 days into a cocaine bender, I found out that the coke that I was doing was cut with meth.
This was something Tipster again tried to get ahead of, writing, "They also keep going on and on about the lawsuit, but the GoFundMe states that not only was the money for legal action, but also for moving expenses and other needs." This is ignoring the fact that the title of the GoFundMe is literally Keffel's Legal Fund, and in an update just below she wrote, "All donations are going directly to my legal fund." In preparation for the expose's release, the vast majority of videos on the Tipster YouTube channel were mysteriously privated. Upon the release of Muda's investigation, rather than responding to any of the very valid claims made, Robert's initial response was, "Congrats, Muda, a literal Nazi retweeted you," showing that the creator of Stone Toss had reposted his video, even though Muda had nothing to do with what that person was doing. Soon after, somebody changed their username to a literal Nazi and reposted Tipster's tweet. Robert continued reposting scathing critiques of Mudahar's video, such as the thumbnail making Keffels look too ugly, and went on to post, "When all the worst people on the internet are cheering you on, you really should start to question how virtuous your actions are." Around this time, more of Tipster's private messages began flooding the internet. In one conversation, somebody named Cherry can be seen pleading with Tipster to stop defending Keffels. When given a hypothetical situation where Keffels had violated somebody, Robert is for some reason still unable to disavow her. Along with these messages was a screenshot of a private Discord server hosted by Tipster and Keffels. The text channels included the names of various people who had wronged them, including Bo Blacks and Turkey Tom. Within these channels were posts from a Discord bot named TweetShift that automatically archived their Twitter activity. It's unknown what the end goal was for this Discord server, but it was clear that Tipster had in fact not moved on from the commentary community. Another leaked DM shows Tipster discussing a dream he had on March 1st of that year. "I dreamt that I started taking HRT. Y'all are invading my dreams and trying to trans me. And no, I'm not kidding. That was a real dream I had." What an odd thing to say. Somebody named Maeve, who can be seen in several previous message leaks with Tipster as well as being a member of the private Discord, was outraged upon seeing those most recent leaks. While exposing the moles, she claimed that among the leaked convos were ones that outed Robert as pansexual, despite that part of the DMs never being published. In the process of trying to call out someone for outing Tipster, she actually outed Tipster herself. Following the Keffels debacle, Robert attempted to further distance himself from drama content by privating most of the remaining videos on his channel. All that was left were recent gaming highlights, as he claimed that was the direction his channel was now headed.
I'm essentially like a gaming streamer now. Like what you're watching me do right now, that's what I do now. Which I've been having so much more fun with, to be honest. I'm actually glad I made the switch. I understand I would get more viewership if I did that kind of content, but I'm not interested. I genuinely don't have any interest in that kind of content anymore.
On top of this, he was finally getting his health in check. Claiming to have previously lost 40 pounds before gaining even more than that back, he asserts that this time will be different, with a picture of his Apple Watch attached. Despite these changes, Tipster's YouTube account would only continue to decline as very few people were interested in gaming stream highlights.
Why is he? It's just him nutting! It's just him nutting! What? Dude, he's like me when I see a Clara DM. Oh! What's going on?
He eventually tried doing political content again, although those videos were struggling to surpass a few hundred views. For a while, it seemed as though Robert would fade into obscurity without putting up much of a fight. That was until Boblax re-entered the picture yet again, to hand him his first major win in a very long time. You see, ever since their fallout, Boblax had been covering mostly innocuous Tipster moments on his livestream. Dubbed bully streams, these were essentially 24/7 coverage of Robert playing Resident Evil while flirting with members of his chat.
Yeah, can I see it? Maybe with you naked. I want to see the haircut, but like without you having clothes on, but like...
You should post it in like, I think
yeah.
a channel in my Discord called Pic Sharing or something like that.
Yeah, share pics in the pic sharing chat Discord! Put it in the tips, What? What the f***? Bought him? You wanted to see it? What the f***?
Boblax showed a keen interest in Robert's behavior, likely because deep down they were more similar than he'd like to admit. Up until now, he had done a good job of keeping his own eccentric behavior behind the scenes. While Tipster would implode in public, Boblax would do the same in private messages with his friends. On July 21st, 2024, Boblax posted, "Non-binary people are badass and valid by the way." Turkey Tom replied to this post saying, "Thank God you chimed in." Boblax then went out of his way to explain his tweet, which was ignored by Tom, who replied again saying, "Praise Skibbity or perish." Boblax quickly deleted his tweets, but not before this pointless interaction was screenshotted and reposted by a small Twitter account named Alex Gekmo, with the caption, "Boblax tweaking right now." Seeing this, Boblax messaged Alex repeatedly attempting to get him to take down the post. When this failed, he messaged several friends calling Alex evil, along with other more offensive terms. This interaction was only scratching the surface when it came to unhinged messages Boblax had been sending people. He blamed these outbursts on borderline personality disorder, although he later claimed he likely didn't have BPD and was only convinced he did by a girl he was dating. In other words, he didn't have BPD. Eventually, many of these messages would leak, resulting in the broader community turning on him. At his lowest point, for whatever reason, Boblax turned to Tipster, somebody he had been relentlessly bullying for the past year. After seeing Boblax had unblocked him, Robert posted a gif of rapper 50 Cent with the caption, "Bro unblocks me now? Really?" He then posted an update showing Boblax had blocked him again following his tweet. In the replies he wrote, "If he thought I was gonna welcome him back with open arms, he's delusional." Using this opportunity, a troll pretending to be Boblax sent Tipster a fake apology on his Linktree page. When Robert reached out directly to clarify if the message was real, Boblax replied with, "That's not me. Doing streams on you is some of the most fun I've had on YouTube. You're also a freak for defending Vosh." This was all the permission he needed to go nuclear. While on the toilet, Tipster wrote, "I wasn't gonna say anything. I was just looking for confirmation of whether this was you or not. But since you want to run your mouth, I'll say my piece. Literally everything you tried to shit on me for, you did. You're getting a taste of your own medicine and you have no one to blame but yourself. You're such a pathetic coward that you deleted your non-binary people are valid tweets after you got a little bit of pushback for it. I've been getting shit on for over a year for my support of the trans community, and not once have I deleted a tweet about it or backed down. Because unlike you, I have the balls to stand by my principles. And if that wasn't bad enough, you begged Alex Gekmo to delete a tweet because it hurt your feelings? There's a lot of valid criticism of me and how I mishandled things in the past, but not even I begged a random Twitter account to delete a tweet because it was too mean. You're a spineless coward. And let's not forget all the times you talked shit on streams, then DM'd me after about how you were just joking and didn't mean what you said. Well, now everyone sees who you really are. So stop pretending to be a bully cause you're not a bully of anyone. You're just a who falls like a house of cards at the slightest criticism. Don't bother responding cause I won't bother reading it. I took my L's, now it's time to take yours. Thank you, bye. God damn. This was a shockingly apt and cathartic message coming from Tipster of all people. In the following days, several of Boblax's friends confronted him on a live stream about his behavior. Although he prematurely left the call, Robert himself joined near the end to clarify his position.
We're not going to see eye to eye on everything. We're not going to agree on everything, but like I can definitely look back at like some of the things that I've done in the past in hindsight and be like, yeah, I was really fucking dumb. And so like I had to take my L's and just like own it. I don't know. It just seems like he has a really hard time just like owning shit. But yeah, I can't stick around. I got to get going. But like I said, regardless of our like differences or whatever, you know, it's whatever. All right, I'm gonna head out. See you later, faggots.
Whoa! What the Wait, was he fake? Was he fake? Was he reach control?
While it's arguable if Tipster ever truly came to terms with his behavior in the past, considering he often preferred blocking his critics, he was at least now accepting some responsibility for how things turned out. In a post directed to Boblax, he wrote, "If you continue down this path, you're only going to end up with a dead channel and a dead career. Don't make the same mistakes I did." As more came out about Boblax, Robert continued to dunk on him. Eventually, the two agreed to chat on stream and air out their grievances, starting with Vosh.
All I alluded to was like the defending Vosh thing, which I still think was horrible, and you agree. So
Oh
it's
yeah,
like,
I made myself look like a idiot.
That's what I said.
I had a big problem of going out on a limb for people to like defend them and stuff like that when I probably shouldn't even got involved.
Boblax continued trying to grill him, but after already admitting he was wrong, the conversation was essentially going in circles. Tipster had come to terms with arguably his biggest flaw. In contrast, when confronted about why he had been friendly in DMs while publicly telling people Robert had backstabbed him regarding his fight with Keffels, Boblax refused to concede anything.
So then you did feel backstabbed?
Yes.
So why didn't you tell me that when I asked you that in DMs?
Why would I tell you?
You see what people mean when they say that you do this like double speak thing, or you're not like fully honest with like how you feel or whatever, and you don't see how they can see that as dishonest. Yeah, I think we're done here.
While Tipster undoubtedly came out the victor of this back and forth, he had no intentions of returning to the commentary community or any of his old friends. Frankly, he seemed to be happy with his new life. If I knew how much people in queer communities loved fatties like me, I would have came out of the closet sooner. He even began posting on Blue Sky after changes were made to Twitter's block button, making it functionally inert. Soon after joining, he got right back into posting his usual content. The rumors are true. @Euphoritori is a bratty bottom. Unfortunately, his detractors were quick to notice that his Blue Sky account had been almost instantly blocked by Keffels after he spam replied to all her posts. Despite this cringe posting on Blue Sky, in the eyes of most people, Tipster was continuing his redemption arc. Near the end of 2024, Rich from the once respected YouTube channel ReviewTech USA was routinely spiraling on live streams. Robert and him had spoken years prior and seemed to be on good terms. Sadly, in the present day, Rich had just deleted his entire account after surpassing 1 million subscribers, and was now ranting about an ex-girlfriend named Becky Boop, claiming she had been a prostitute.
Hi everyone, Becky Boop is an opportunistic who used to whore herself out on Craigslist to old men to make money.
As it turned out, Tipster and Becky had been good friends for several years now, and one of his female friends coming under fire could only mean one thing: she needed him to defend her. But hear me out. Possibly for the first time in his entire career, Robert utterly crushed his opponent in a debate.
You were friends with Keffels. How'd that go?
I heard you on the other day on stream say that we're not friends anymore, and that's not true.
But how did that go for you? How'd that go for your reputation?
Can you explain to me where the grift is then? Because I literally lost my career by standing by my principles, and I still haven't backed down.
You were literally.
Aren't you the one that's been in a lot of girls' DMs too? By the way, you're the one who brought up sliding in people's DMs and shit. So I'm just saying,
Tipster,
you don't really,
Tipster,
you don't belong in
okay,
you shouldn't be
here's
throwing
what I'll
stones
do.
in a glass house,
Here's
bro.
what
That's
I'll
all I'm
do.
saying. The last time I was watching you have a meltdown on stream, I was sitting next to my wife while having dinner while watching you lose your mind. Good luck to you.
Pause
Best
1
of
second.
luck to you, Rich.
No.
But you look like a fucking clown.
You don't
Peace,
get
bitch.
to end. He just pulled a Phil.
There are many blunders online personalities have come back from over the years, but losing a debate to Tipster is essentially career-ruining. As for his claim of still being friends with Keffels, that would at least explain why he continued to defend her on Blue Sky and random Reddit threads. However, it would be many months before the two would be seen interacting again. When interviewed on the matter, Tipster does acknowledge that Keffels has blocked him, but hand waves it away as her wanting to distance herself from the internet, which makes no sense.
Apparently, has Keffels blocked you on Blue Sky? Is that right?
Yeah.
Don't think Keffels has said much since the whole Xander Hall crash out thing. Is there a kind of a fracturing kind of behind the scenes?
I'm not gonna, obviously share anything that's private or whatever, but as far as our relationship, it's fine. She's kind of living her own life, offline for the most part. There's no bad blood there or anything like that. We're still cool or whatever.
Robert too has grown tired of the internet. On December 6, 2024, he announced he would be leaving Twitter for the foreseeable future. This was in response to what he saw as an increase in bigotry and discrimination on the platform. Just like his previous breaks from Twitter, this was over just as soon as it started. The allure of blog posting various life updates was just too strong to ignore. With his continued use of Twitter, Bo Black's returned to antagonize Robert once again. Their back and forth went on for several days, ultimately culminating in Tipster dedicating a segment on stream to discuss their beef. While little to no new information came to light during the stream, Robert did a good job of summarizing how he ended up in this position.
I can look at this in hindsight. I could take the L and say, I defended some things that I didn't need to defend. I inserted myself into some situations that I didn't need to insert myself into, which anybody who knows my history knows that was a bad habit of me. If I liked someone because they were a creator I enjoyed, or because they were a friend of mine or something like that, I always had a bad habit of inserting myself into situations that I didn't need to insert myself into. I basically lost my career as a content creator. I lost my audience. I lost a lot of friends over this shit. I made an ass of myself, and I can own it.
This new sober perspective on his past failures was slowly buying back the little respect he once had. Unfortunately, just one day later, tragic news would strike the Tipster fandom, as he would make a post on his community page. I've always said that the day YouTube was no longer fun for me would be the day I'd retire. I believe that day has finally come. The YouTube landscape has changed drastically since I started. Many of the aspects that initially drew me to the platform and its community are no longer present. I've come to realize that it's time for me to move on and leave on somewhat of a high note, on my own terms. In many ways, this was understandable. YouTube is completely unrecognizable compared to 2006 when Robert first joined the platform. Now nobody cares to watch his stream highlights playing Resident Evil, or talking about his interest in retro games. For many viewers, the only entertaining moments from Tipster's long online career centered around him getting overwhelmed in debates, losing his friends, or embarrassing himself. Given that reality, can you blame Robert for wanting to leave? While he had stopped posting on YouTube, he continued keeping his fans updated on Blue Sky. You would think by cutting off the source of all his anguish, Tipster's life would have improved, yet somehow it seems to have gotten worse. In one update he posted, "A friend today told me they look up to me. Why? What is there to look up to? I'm a failure in every way possible." Even if you're someone who despises Tipster, you have to admit this black and white sort of thinking isn't an accurate reflection of reality or productive in any way. He does have a decent job and a wife who seems fine with his online shenanigans. Less than 2 months after announcing his retirement, Tipster returned to YouTube yet again. I feel like this script is getting repetitive. Once again, he decided to wipe his entire channel, with only his most recent streams remaining public. He continued streaming for the next few months, although very little from this time has been archived. Even users of Kiwi Farms only occasionally return to his thread to remind readers that he is indeed still overweight. For what it's worth, it appears the majority of lost media was uninteresting. His sub count had been in free fall since his return, and by November of 2025, he officially dropped below 100k. It would be an understatement to say Tipster needed to make a change. A transition, if you will. On December 29th, Robert posted to Twitter, "New Year, New Me," with a transgender flag attached. In the replies, he clarified that he was coming out as non-binary. Along with this, he changed his name on all platforms to "Hey, it's TippyXO." This rebrand included a new Gothic-inspired logo. Over the next few months, he would post about getting his ears pierced, painting his nails, and wearing makeup. In his own words, when referring to his past message leaks, "Little did I know I wanted to be the goth chick." To celebrate this transformation, he once again wiped his YouTube channel, with the oldest public video now being dated one day after his announcement. He finally seemed to be in good spirits, posting about how he had overcome alcoholism and had been seeing a therapist. Although he did seem to be upset about a particular friend that had cut him off in the past. It's likely this friend in question was the now ex-goth mommy Hannah Animal, who responded to this thread saying, "Why is Tipster trying to rewrite history that his struggle with alcoholism was due to sexuality and not his unhappy marriage? You put too much personal baggage on people who shouldn't be dealing with it. I was a 21-year-old trying to give marriage advice to a guy in his 30s. I allowed you to sexualize me into a meme because it's the only time you seemed happy." Robert never directly responded to this, and that's probably for the best. He often claims that people making jokes at his expense are obsessed with his marriage, but you shouldn't spend the better part of a decade flirting with random women online and venting to them about your wife if you expect any other outcome. Most recently, in his Discord server, the domain of the goth mommies, we can see that Robert's mental health has once again declined. While the exact reason for this is currently a mystery, it is a pattern that is likely to repeat. As of writing, Tipster is 39 years old and seemingly still spends most of his days trauma dumping to people half his age over Discord. This is not behavior that's conducive to success or personal growth. Fortunately for Robert, he has fallen so far from the spotlight that he would have to do something truly insane for anyone to bother documenting it going forward. After spending the majority of his adult life online, he has little to show for it. In the past, he had tried to create an echo chamber around himself, blocking anyone who attempted to pierce his bubble. But now, streaming to less than 10 viewers, he has, in a sense, achieved that. Perhaps this is the best possible outcome for Tipster. While other Lolcows will likely have every moment tracked for the rest of their lives, Robert can quietly fade into obscurity, playing Resident Evil.
Women.
A big thanks to Fume for sponsoring today's video. Click the link in the description down below to try it out for yourself.